Can Chelsea continue the good form of football under Enzo Maresca? Can Chelsea cause more pain and misery to Leeds United, currently 18th in the Premier League as we're recording? Welcome back to From the Shed End. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, as always, please make sure you smash that subscribe button. You like this video, leave your thoughts also in the comments and hit that Linktree link before you leave this video. Now, Leeds United, as I've said, it's never an easy ground to go to. Now, I know we've got a really good record against Leeds at Ellen Road. Very good record. Leeds are currently 18th in the league. They're not having the best of times themselves. But I say all that to say this. Momentum is key. Momentum is key for Chelsea at the moment. We have to make sure that we keep the pressure on Arsenal, keep the pressure on Manchester City. That should be our aim this season. And I'll be honest, I'm seeing a lot of good things, positive things from Enzo Maresca, from Chelsea, from the players. And this is the first time in a long time that I can actually see the vision of our football club. Now, I couldn't say that under Lampard, I couldn't say it under Pochettino, and I couldn't say it under Graham Potter. But under Enzo Maresca, you're seeing a style of football. You're seeing what the club and the players and the coaches and the manager wants from his team. You can see that we're not just trying to push into the top four. We actually want to try and win something this season. You can see that. Now, coming into this game, obviously, match day 14, Leeds back in the Premier League after being promoted last season. They're struggling. They're struggling this season. They're currently 18th in the Premier League. Relegation form as it stands at the moment with 11 points from 13 games, 3 wins, 2 draws, 8 losses. They're currently on a goal difference of 10, minus 10. Now, they're on, as I said, poor form, 5 losses in their last 6 games, including a recent 3-2 defeat to Manchester City. And they have struggled really badly defensively. They've let in some really costly last-minute goals, which has resulted in them being 18th, which has resulted in them looking very, very likely to go down unless things change for them. There's a lot of scrutiny around Daniel Farke, his tactics as well. I know there's a couple of Leeds fans that I know and talk to. You know, he's tried to change things, going to a 3-5-2 at times. He's played 4-2-3-1. He's played 4-3-3 as well. So it does look like there's a lot of mix and matching, bit of a mismatch of things from Daniel Farke. Doesn't really know how to get the best out of his Leeds squad. So I do think generally this is probably one of the fixtures that, as much as we don't think we should lose or we're not concerned that we're going to lose, I'm going to say it as always, I say it on nearly every video, but we have to guard against complacency, because these are the sort of games where you go into them with the expectation you're just going to win the game. And actually, they prove to be much more difficult than you would imagine them to be. Now, Ellen Road, 8:15 tomorrow is not going to be an easy game. This is really, for me, just where do both managers need to try and get the points? What does Daniel Farke need to do from his perspective to get the result? But more importantly, what does Enzo Maresca do about no Moises Caicedo? Now, I'm pretty sure I heard on the press conference today, 50 games out of 51 games under Enzo Maresca, Moises Caicedo has featured in that game. So it's a big loss. It's a massive loss. This is one of the key players for, you know, I wouldn't even call him an unsung hero, but this is one of the key players for Chelsea in that midfield, the engine of the team. So it is going to be a big loss for as I said, 3 games out. Like I said yesterday, missing Leeds, Bournemouth and Everton. Of course, there's an Atalanta game in the Champions League in between that. But to lose Moises Caicedo is massive. It's a big thing. But I want to talk about some of the press conference comments from today from Enzo Maresca. He was asked about Cole Palmer. Can he feature in tomorrow's game? And also was asked about Dario Asugo. So let's get straight into that.
Yeah, everyone is fine. Romeo still try to recover. Dario, he was okay. Start some session with us. Now he needs to slow down a little bit, so he will be out again. Hopefully nothing important, and the rest they are all fine.
And you're gonna.
No, he can. He's available. The last game he was on the bench for sure. With 10 players was more complicated, for Cole, because now he needs to come back in terms of also fitness condition. He's available. He can start the game. The idea with him is to start giving minutes until he can play. He can play 90 minutes. Yeah, absolutely yes. But is For sure, again, we are a better team with Cole, we are a better team with Moy, we are a better team with Levi. But when these players they are not available, we try to find solution. We did the same thing with Levi. We did the same thing when Cole was out, and now we have to do something different because of Moy.
Is Andre Santos ready to sort of be the guy who steps up? And because he probably struggled a little bit, I thought, in the beginning of the season, but he's just getting better and better, isn't he?
Yeah, Andre is ready. His position, once again, is playing as a 6, like Moy position. But he's ready. We have more option. We have also Reese. We can have different position. I think one that can play good in that position is Josh. But we see.
So as you can see, there is question marks about whether Cole Palmer will start this game. Personally, I don't think he starts. I don't think he starts. I think if Cole Palmer starts this game, it's a game too early for him. And I think quite rightly, as Enzo Maresca said, the aim is to give him minutes for him to then build up the fitness to get back to playing 90 minutes. So this is a game I think we'll see Cole Palmer play some role in. I just don't think he'll start the game. And I'll be very surprised if he starts Cole Palmer. We've got options in that. I'm going to put on my predicted lineup shortly, but we've got options. We've got options. I don't think we necessarily need to concern ourselves too much with trying to push Cole Palmer straight back into the team. I think there's other players that can do the job, especially against Leeds, the form that they're in. I don't think this is a game where you would need to rush him back in. This is not a make or break game for us. This is a comfortable win, or it should be a comfortable win for us as well. But it is good to see Dario Sugo back in training. It sounds like Dario Sugo is not that too far away. Maybe looking in a couple of games' time to feature him. I think he'll be a good addition to the team. He was one player that I did say during the Club World Cup that looked very comfortable on the ball, assertive, understood his role in the team. So I think it'd be good to get him back in. And of course, Andre Santos, another player that has come under a lot of criticism under his time under Chelsea. But I think he's proven that he's got a role. He's got a role to play, and we need to utilize him in games like this, where we might need to bring him into the team. So who knows? Who knows? With Enzo Maresca, you can never really be sure what team's going to come out, what team's going to play. But I would hope that we don't see Cole Palmer rush back into the team. I would hope that we don't see someone like Dario Sugo rush back into the team 100%. And I do hope that we do utilize a player like Andre Santos, who, off the back of a really good loan spell at Strasbourg, has come into this team and hasn't really got the minutes that he probably would want and be featuring as much as he has for Chelsea this season. So we need to try and get him involved in our game a bit more. Now, of course, the defensive line, they got all the praises. Sanchez got all the praises, and rightfully so, against Arsenal. It was a really solid back line. I'll be honest, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. We have to keep consistency in that defensive line. Apart from maybe Levi Colwell when he's back and he's fully fit from his ACL injury, I don't think there's much change needed. Yes, Malo Gusto is a bit infrequent, but you can interchange them with Achiempong, with Reece James as well. But I think for tomorrow's game, I think we have to keep it as it is. Malo Gusto, Cucurella as the fullbacks with Chalobah and Wesley Fofana as the centre backs. And let's hope Robert Sanchez has another top performance, because again, he was asked in the press conference this morning. He was asked whether this is probably the best spell that Robert Sanchez is having, and credit where credit is due. I think we have to agree that Robert Sanchez, distribution-wise, everything has been solid about him. So this is one of those key moments for Enzo Maresca to make sure that he gets the best out of Robert Sanchez. It won't be an easy game for us, but I think we have to try and make sure that we don't slip up. We don't slip up. It's going to be a hostile environment at Ellen Road. We know there's a sense of rivalry at the club, between the two clubs. So I think we just have to make sure that we don't make any stupid mistakes, especially defensively, because one thing about Leeds is they are good aerially. They scored 2 against Manchester City. So it tells you that they're not afraid to attack. They're not afraid to take the game to another team. But I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried at all. I think this is a game where we should cope well. Now I want to talk about the lineup that I've gone with and the reasons why I've gone for that. So let's get straight into that right now. So as you can see, I've gone with Robert Sanchez in goal, who I think, for me personally, as I said, pulls out all the stops when it's required, played really well against Arsenal. I think Maresca even said that was probably one of his best games he got to see for Sanchez on Sunday afternoon. I've gone with Malo Gusto. I've gone with the same back line, Malo Gusto, Wesley Fofana, and Trevor Chalobah in the back line alongside Mark Cucurella, who again I think is colossal in our back line. I've gone with the two in. Now, obviously, this is down to the suspension to where the changes happen because there's a suspension, obviously, to Moises Caicedo. So I've gone with Reece James, who was instrumental, world class. I don't think there's many other words I could use to describe Reece James against Arsenal. He was just superb. He was everywhere on the pitch, bossing the midfield, embarrassing Declan Rice and Arsenal. But I've gone with Reece James in the midfield alongside Enzo Fernandez. Now, the reason I've gone with Enzo Fernandez is because I think we still need. Now, of course, you could bring in Andre Santos. You could maybe put Josh Achiempong in the inverted role or in the midfield, but then you'd put Reece James back at right back. I just think why change what hasn't been broken against Barca or Arsenal, two top teams? And I do think there is, again, a case that you might bring in Achiempong if the game's going the way that you want it to against Leeds. But we have to respect Leeds. We're not playing Barrow FC. This is Leeds United that can cause us issues. So I still think we have to factor in the fact that we could lose this game very easily. I'm confident, but I think we'd still need some regularity in that midfield. So I've gone with Enzo Fernandez and Reece James. Unfortunate for Fernandez because I think in this role here, he's been able to be amazing for us. He's been amazing in this sort of 10 role, dropping into the spaces that have become available from a defensive line point of view. I've had to change that because of the Moises Caicedo sending off. I've gone with Esteval Willian on the right-hand side of our attack, simply because I think if it is Gruev and Justin on the left-hand side for them, I think he'll be able to work that channel very, very well. And I think Esteval, for me, I keep saying it, whenever we see him, obviously he didn't have the best of games against Arsenal, but when we see what he can do, he's just a game changer. I keep saying he's a defender's nightmare. Defenders must hate playing against someone like Esteval Willian because you don't know whether he's going to cut in, take you on the outside, whether he's going to do a bit of trickery, whether he's going to shoot. You just don't know. And that's what I like about him, the sort of unexpected uncertainty. But clearly in his mind, he knows how to play the game. He knows how to play football. So I would start Esteval Willian on the right-hand side. I've gone with João Pedro, who again, I don't think had the best of times against Arsenal. I think he struggled to kind of take the chances that he was given and also grow into the game. I don't think he done that. And the same for Liam Delap, who have chosen as the number 9. I don't think either of them really grew into that game against Arsenal. It's interesting because I think there is a stake that do you play Pedro Neto on the right and then maybe put Garnacho on the left to cause a bit of habit for Bogle. It's a question that you might be able to, prove a case for. But I've gone with Pedro Neto, who I think the energy, the tenacity, the brilliance going forward, the energy to get back as well. Because I think I'm looking at this here, Bogle, who I would assume will be playing quite high up again with Leeds. Daniel James, who knows got pace about him. So Neto's going to have a job here of helping as much as he can with Cucurella, being able to help in that defensive aspect of the game. I also think going forward, I think Neto is probably the better suited than Gittins or Garnacho in these areas here, who I think he'll be able to exploit very well from Bogle. And I've gone with Delap because I think Rondon and Struck in the defensive line, I think we need height. I think we need height from set pieces. I think we need some more. I'm thinking of João Pedro as well. When we get set piece opportunities, Trevor Chalobah, who we got to see score against Arsenal. I'm thinking about all those sort of things, and we need height. We need height and that's one thing we over the years we've struggled with completely, having height for our set pieces. But I think we need height, and I think I think with Chalobah, I think with Delap, I think with João Pedro, they're going to give you some sort of options from set pieces to try and score goals like we did against Arsenal. But we have to be careful because I think as much as James and Fernandez, more so against Arsenal, were able to help in that midfield role. I think this is a very good midfield for Leeds. Gruev, Tanaka, and Ampadu. Now, I don't think they may not go for a 4-3-3. They could go to three defenders, 2 wing backs, which then changes everything I've just said about our game. It will change exactly the dynamic of Neto and Cucurella, but I still think you would want Neto and Cucurella on that left side if they do play right wing backs and a left wing back as well. My worry if they do play a back 5 is Esteval, because I think Esteval, as much as he's brilliant going forward, and this is not a criticism of him, I think in that aspect, I would probably consider maybe moving Neto to the right because of Notto and Justin, and then maybe you play a Garnacho on the left-hand side of that if they play a back 5. So, and that's one thing that Enzo Maresca was asked today, does he think they'll play a back 5? And he actually doesn't know himself. So it's a big question, it's a big TBC, but I'm not afraid of this game. I'm not afraid of this game at all. We've got good players. We've got quality players in the team. I would expect us, realistically, if I'm being honest, I'm expecting us to seriously shift up the pitch. And and the way I want us to be playing, I want us to be high line. I want our, obviously, the goalkeeper to be playing where he normally plays, sort of just, ready to pounce if the ball comes out to him. But I want us to be playing a very high line. I want us to be able to play in their half, overload them at times. I want us to be able to have Liam Delap running in between the 2 centre-backs. I want João Pedro to be working the spaces that become available. If Rondon's here, burst into here. If the space, I want Neto to be taking on Bogle and cutting in, or going on the outside. I want Esteval to be doing exactly the same on the other side. I want opportunity for Enzo Fernandez to get into these spaces, because at some point, Cucurella is going to drop into this space here and invert. Then you're going to have your 3 as the back, as a defensive line here. So I want Cucurella to be, we have to overload. If we don't overload, then we run the risk of, and I don't think we won't overload because we've been doing it all season. So I think we will do this. But if we don't, and we allow Leeds to attack us, this is where the problems will come. This is where the problems will become, because Man City caused their own problems against Leeds on Saturday. We don't want to do the same thing. We do not want to do the same thing. I think we have to make sure that we strike while the iron is hot. We need to capitalize on the fact that they're struggling in the league. They've got 1 win, I think 5 defeats in the last 6 games. This is a moment for us to strike and get some points and maintain that gap between Arsenal and Man City. And as I keep saying, people are saying to me that I'm crazy, but we are in a title race, whether we want to believe it or not. We're in December. We've got some busy fixture lists coming up, but we're in a title race, whether we want to believe it or not. And some people are scared to say it, but we're in a title race. So every game matters from now until the end of the season. And it's games like this where you get tested because you think you're going to beat them. You have to go out there and prove why we are in the title race. It's games like this where you have to prove that, in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me know what your predicted lineup would be. Would you go with the lineup I've gone with, or what would you change? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, link in the description, and we'll be back soon with another video.